Hillary lives on down in Chappaqua Town with a big guy known only as Bubba. The Clintons, it is said, left a trail of their dead, including Chelsea's dad, Webb Hubbell.
Myself.
206 dead people attached to the Clintons that they either knew or were witnesses. Most of those deaths were either suicides or plane crashes.
How many people do you know who've shot themselves in the back? Twice. Or locked themselves in a duffel bag without leaving any fingerprints. Hell, forget the fingerprints. How do you get yourself in a suitcase? How? But if you ask Bill or Hillary Clinton that question, the answer is scores and scores of people, possibly up to 100, and counting. But let me preface this with a caveat. Just because all these people associated with the Clintons have turned up suspiciously dead doesn't mean that the Clintons are doing it. You know, they could have silent, shadowy handlers doing it all to promote them without the Clintons even really being aware of it. You know, admittedly, that's kind of a stretch, but it's still a real possibility. And believe you me, there are tons. So many that you have to have an hours-long video to cover it all. Hell, I got carried away, and I'm probably putting too much shit in this thing at any rate. But anyway, here goes.
For the New York Senate seat back in 1999. Days later, his plane crashed into the Atlantic Ocean, and his rival, Hillary Clinton, was elected senator. Mary Mahoney was a Clinton White House intern. She knew enough of the inner workings of Bill's sexual advancements to be a star witness during the Clinton impeachment trials. She was brutally executed at a Starbucks she was managing in 1997. In 1993, White House counsel Vince Foster was found dead in Fort Marcy Park near D.C. He supposedly killed himself, and among a lengthy list of potential foul play, the bullet was never found. Then there's James McDougal, a key witness for White House prosecutors. He was serving his 3-year sentence for bank fraud at the Fort Worth Federal Medical Center in Texas. And just before he was to give a testimony before the grand jury, McDougal suffered a heart attack in solitary confinement. In 2015, Walter Scheib, a White House chef hired under Bill Clinton, joined the list. His body was found at the bottom of a river, nearly 2 miles from the base of the trail he was reportedly hiking. An autopsy determined that Scheib's death was accidental drowning, but he might have known too much. 27-year-old Democratic National Committee staffer Seth Rich was shot and killed in D.C. this year. There is speculation that he was the source of the controversial leaked emails allegedly sent by DNC staffers, and that he may have been murdered in retaliation. Then Sean Lucas, the lead attorney in a fraud case against the DNC, was found lying on the bathroom floor by his girlfriend when she returned home on August 2nd. His death was reported classified.
Many people died mysterious deaths, often just before they were set to release incriminating evidence concerning the Clintons' activities. Anthony Bourdain, the TV chef, there's a picture of him there, announced that he had career-ending dirt on Hillary Clinton and committed suicide a week later. Now, how a cook would have, information on the Clintons is, kind of beyond me, but that's not the point. He said he did, and, he's dead. And the next step on the presidential parade, Mark Middleton. Mark Middleton was President Clinton's fixer during his presidency and was found dead shortly after it was revealed that he was the man who introduced Clinton to Jeffrey Epstein and who admitted the notorious pedophile to the Clinton White House on 17 occasions. In early May 2022, Middleton, 59, was found dead attached to a tree with an extension cord tied around his neck. He also had a gunshot wound to his chest, but no gun was ever found anywhere near his body at the Heifer Ranch in Perryville, Arkansas. In fact, the gun that fired the fatal shot was never found, never recovered. Like Bill Clinton, he also flew on Epstein's Lolita Express private jet numerous times, according to the Daily Mail, who stated the controversial ruling on Middleton's death raises more questions than answers, as it was ruled that he died by suicide, despite no sign of the weapon that had killed him. Oh, yeah, man. This guy, he knew Epstein, and he got Epsteined. Apparently. Duh. Next is Gareth Williams, a transatlantic MI6 spy who had illegally hacked secret data on the Clintons, according to the UK Sun, and promised to sink Hillary's presidential ambitions. The news site noted his death is still one of Britain's most mysterious unsolved cases. His dead body was found naked, padlocked, and stuffed in a 32-inch by 19-inch duffel bag that was sitting in his London bathtub. Okay. Scotland Yard had announced the death as a suicide, saying he locked himself in the bag. He threatened to let the cat out of the bag, so they stuffed him in a bag. James Bond. Man, yeah. I'm sure that sort of thing happens every month. Next is Vince Foster's apparent suicide, or so-called suicide. This case was like the granddaddy of all these cases. It was this case that first, propounded this phenomenon into the light of public recognition. Now, how could a suicide victim be found with 2 wounds? A .38 caliber gunshot to the mouth that exited through his head, and another wound on the right side of his neck that one of the paramedics described as a small caliber bullet hole. Now, if you know anything about guns, you'll know that a .38 caliber is not a small caliber. A small caliber would be like a .22 or a .25, or even maybe a .32, but not a .38. Now, smoking gun information comes from 2 documents: a 2-page letter of resignation and a 31-page memo with both written by Ken Starr's lead prosecutor, Miguel Rodriguez. Now, see, Ken Starr was investigating the Clintons, and he investigated the Clintons, forever, kind of like Robert Mueller's investigation. And anyway, this guy apparently got disgusted by the whole thing and resigned. And he mentioned some photographs in his resignation and in this 31-page memo showing the wound on Foster's neck. Now, the photographs were never found, but he mentioned it. And this wound did not exist according to Starr's accounts and the official government report. And this case gets even shadier. There's all kinds of stuff. There's evidence that the body was moved and that he didn't really die where they found the body, and it just goes on and on. If you want to find out about it, just look it up. But this one's shady. This one's really shady. It's speculated that Foster was banging Hillary, and he had some information on them that they didn't want to get out. Or maybe Hillary just got jealous because he was interested in another woman or something, Who knows? But this one's really shady.
Paula Grober, Danny Casolero, Paula Wilker, John Parnell Walker, Barbara Weiss. We should verify this yourself because you're running a radio show. You should look it up.
I don't know any of these
Dr.
names.
Stanley Hurd, Barry Beal, Barry Seal, Johnny Longhorn,
Can you read me the URL you're reading? Can you read me the URL you're reading?
We'll send you the most credible source you can look it up.
Let your listeners know what you're reading.
We'll put the link below. We'll put the link below.
Just tell me so I know what I'm responding
Friday,
to.
Kevin Ivey, Dan Henry, Keith Coney. And these were part of the Ivy Henry case. Keith McCaskill.
What's the Ivy Henry case?
You can look it up. Ivy Henry case. So Gregory Collins, Jeff Rhodes, James Milland, Richard Winter, and then you got the close bodyguards, Major William Barclay, Captain Scott Reynolds, Brian Hanley, Tim Sable, General William Robertson.
You don't even know what you're reading a list of. How is this?
Densberger, Robert
Kelly,
Kelly,
Seth
Colonel
Rich, and in case you didn't know, he was almost undoubtedly the guy who leaked 44,000 emails to WikiLeaks, creating a huge scandal just prior to the 2016 presidential election. And it's speculated that this email dump cost her the election. People say Russia did it. However, Julian Assange all but admitted that Seth Rich did it. Anyway, he was murdered and nothing was stolen from him, and other people were talking about making examples of people, and this one is very dubious. WikiLeaks actually offered a huge reward for anybody who would step forward and give information about who killed him. And of course, no one ever did, because if anyone ever did, they'd probably wind up just like Next, I'm going to go over briefly a few more cases that are really kind of tantalizing. Of course, there's Seth Rich right there. We've already discussed him. This guy, John Ash, a UN official, this guy right here with the red tie, he died suspiciously, and it says here the day before he was set to testify as a top official against the DNC and Hillary Clinton on 6/22/16. Now, he wasn't really going there to the court to testify against Clinton. And because of that, they'll say it's a conspiracy theory, because he wasn't going there to testify against Clinton. He was going there to testify on an ancillary matter, which would undoubtedly have created some splash damage that would have landed on Hillary. Anyway, he was lifting weights the night before, and of course the barbell fell on his neck and killed him. Then there's Victor Thorne, author of books exposing the Clintons, found dead of a gunshot wound on a mountaintop near his home in 2016. All these are happening in 2016, except for the last one. Sean Lucas. Now, I remember this guy. The lead attorney in the anti-Clinton DNC fraud case, and a Bernie Sanders supporter found dead at home, 8/4/16. I remember that. And then there's Barrington Wisenhout Jr., a federal prosecutor working on the DNC voter fraud case in Florida, found dead with a gunshot wound in his head. I think they found him on a beach. And people tried to link Debbie Wasserman Schultz to that one. Of course, who knows. But anyway, here's some more. Oh, but this is, like I say, this kind of thing happens every week. To anyone. To everybody. It happens all the time. Here are a list of bodyguards assigned to Hillary Clinton who have wound up dead. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. Yeah. Clinton's apologists all say the same thing. They point out that the Clintons have been in politics for decades, and they know many, many people. So, of course, some of these people will have died before their time in unlikely circumstances. But how many other career politicians have had so many mysterious deaths associated with them? You don't hear about a Bush body count or an Obama body count. Biden might be irredeemably corrupt, but you don't hear about a Biden body count. And there were quite a few more that I did cards on that I left out of the video because it was getting too long. It just goes on and on and on. But like I said in the beginning, even if there was something shady and sinister linking all these deaths to a single source, it doesn't necessarily follow that it's the Clintons doing it. Maybe they've got a silent benefactor, a silent protector that sits off in the shadows and clears the way for them. And they may not even know who the hell he is or who hell they are. It doesn't necessarily mean the Clintons are doing this. by any means. Although, you know, Occam's razor, the simplest explanation is usually the right one. Although, you know, Occam's razor, who's Occam anyway? So hopefully this video's given you enough information from which you can base your own research. Get out and look up some of this stuff. Don't just take my word for it. Don't take anyone's word for anything. Look it up yourself, just like I did. I'd been hearing about this Clinton body count for years and years, and then I decided to do this video, and now I know a lot more about it than I did, a lot more than I really would like to have known.
It's not like this is just the things that have been happening around Hillary Clinton lately. This woman's entire career, her entire adulthood, has been trailed by just a laundry list of unethical issues and scandals. Let's take it on back to when she was fired from her job as a staff attorney for the House Judiciary Committee during the Watergate investigation. Why was she fired? Well, let's see what her boss says. Because she was a liar, quote unquote. Because she was an unethical, dishonest lawyer, she conspired to violate the Constitution, the rules of the House, the rules of the committee, and the rules of confidentiality. She was removing court documents and hiding them from public view, and she was trying to advocate denying President Nixon representation. I mean, she was doing everything she could to win, and no respect whatsoever for the Constitution, which is the law of our land. That's all the way back then. You think she's learned her lesson? Give me a break. The fact that anyone would vote for this woman only proves that propaganda on television works, or that critical thinking skills have gone extinct.
The day finally came, Hillary set out to claim her right to be first woman POTUS. But as Democrats cheered, the corruption was clear in the emails that WikiLeaks showed us.